Coming up on this episode of the Daily O, two SEC teams are on major upset alert, two Oklahoma State sports are in action, and Aaron Judge comes closer to American League history. All that and more on the Daily O. Good evening and welcome back to the Daily O. My name is Grayson Singleton. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Let's start by diving into some OSU athletics as Cowgirls soccer continues to dominate their opponents in the start of the season. Our own Nathan Shell has the latest.
Oklahoma State Cowgirls defeated the Brown Lady Bears 2-0 on a Sunday afternoon game at Neil Patterson Stadium. The hot and windy game started with Brown controlling possession and even hitting the crossbar in the first minute of action. However, the Cowgirls battled back with an Olivia Dowell shot in the 16th minute that was saved by the Lady Bears goalkeeper. She also hammered a shot in the 39th minute that hit the crossbar and just missed. OSU's freshman goalkeeper Jordan Nidus closed the half with a save in the 45th minute. The game was tied 0-0 at the half. However, action picked up in the second half as a corner kick gave Erica McIntyre a crossbar chance that resulted in an Olivia Dowell attempt that was saved by Brown's keeper. However, Dowell found the back of the net not once but twice in the span of 8 minutes. The first came in the 72nd minute as she fired the ball into the top left corner of the net past the outstretched arms of the goalkeeper. Her second score came in the 79th minute. Wingback Blythe Beldner crossed the ball to an open Dowell, who leaped forward and headed the ball under the left arm of the goalie. The Cowgirls maintained their lead to the finish line, shutting out the Brown Lady Bears 2-0. Coach Carmichael was delighted with the team's work ethic throughout the match and the overall performance.
You know, the determination we played with. First and foremost, Brown are a great team, man. Especially second half, we played some really nice soccer around the 18. So, yeah, really pleased with the performance. Most pleasing thing to me was just the work ethic, the commitment and determination. It was awesome.
Olivia Dowell reflected on her performance.
Well, in the first half, I had a couple shots, a little unlucky for one to not go in. So as a forward, you just have to have a short-term memory and just keep going at them, and eventually you're going to get rewarded. And it was really nice to get a reward. And I just think that you can always improve. So I'd probably rate my performance like 5 out of 10, or 4 out of 5. Sorry. But there's always room for improvement for sure.
The Cowgirls' next game is against the Lady Jayhawks in Lawrence, Thursday at 7 p.m. I'm Nathan Shell, Ocali TV.
Thanks, Nathan. Make sure to make Ocali TV your place to be and to stay up to date on all things OSU athletics related. Speaking of hot starts, we can't forget about Cowboy football and the dominance that they have put on display. Oklahoma State, number 8 in the nation, welcoming Arkansas Pine Bluff to Boone Pickens Stadium. And let's start it right off here. First quarter, Spencer Sanders deep ball to Braden Johnson. Now it looks like a routine catch, except he out-muscles the defender, ball falling all over the place. Johnson, third touchdown of the season. Next drive, Trace Ford blocks the Arkansas Pine Bluff punt and returns it 15 yards for a touchdown, giving Oklahoma State the quick 14-0 lead. And we're only 2.5 minutes into the game at this point. Look at it again, Trace Ford, special teams getting involved in the game. Next Arkansas Pine Bluff drive. Christopher Thompson has this field goal blocked, supposedly by Sione Ossie. We'll come back to that in a second, but it's picked up by Corey Black, who runs it back 38 yards for the touchdown, 42-0. Now check this out. The field goal is actually blocked by his own lineman. The ball just falls 30 yards back into the field of play. Corey Black picking it up. Oklahoma State, the route is on as special teams headlining the game. Now late in the fourth quarter, Ollie Gordon, the true freshman running back, around the left end and then turns on the Jets to outrun the last part of the Arkansas Pine Bluff defense. It's a 53-yard touchdown for Ollie Gordon, his second of the season. Oklahoma State taking a 63-7 lead. and they would win it by that score. The Cowboys have now won 11 consecutive home games, tying a program record. All right, let's take a quick break, but when we return, it's time to look into some national headlines as well as some of the top-tier college football action that ensued over the weekend. Don't go anywhere. The Daily O will be right back.
Star Course, best new public course won an Open in 1994 and a top 100 public golf course in America since 2003. This course, just 5 miles outside of Stillwater, Oklahoma on Highway 51, is named after one of the influential golf pioneers this game has known.
Karsten Creek.
Karsten Creek.
Karsten Creek.
Karsten Creek.
Karsten Creek's a modern golf course.
The beauty of the course is in large part to the elements of the grounds. The Georgia fairway is transformed from its original forested landscape. Georgia was used to combat the tough winters so golfers could play year-round. The greens are large and sloping bent grass hills. The low-cut bent grass can be similar to glass during peak championship conditions. The bunkers surrounding most holes remind golfers of a white beach rather than a deep hazard. Lake Louise, surrounded by the second 9, completes the perfect finishing hole. The long par 72 course perfectly combines nature with the difficulty of a championship course. Karsten's added challenge is the Oklahoma wind.
So there aren't any other schools in the country that have that same commitment to college golf as we do here at Oklahoma State.
But if you're going to play at the highest level, you've got to be able to focus on where you want to go, and Karsten Creek does a good job of training you to do that, because if you don't, you're going to have a long day. And that's a great legacy that Coach Holder left, because that's the way he coached.
Welcome back to the Daily O. Let's dive into the top national headlines throughout the sports world. And we're going to start in the desert, a massive coaching dismissal as the Arizona State Sun Devils have dismissed former head coach Herm Edwards. The decision comes following a tough loss on Saturday to Eastern Michigan. Edwards, who previously coached the New York Jets in the NFL for 7 years, ends his tenure in Tempe with a 26-20 overall record with 4 bowl game appearances. Sun Devils running back coach Sean Aguano will now be tasked as the new head coach, looking to bounce back his new squad from its current 1-2 record. Terrible news from the Bay Area and for all 49ers fans. Quarterback Trey Lance has suffered a season-ending ankle injury yesterday against the Seattle Seahawks. Lance, who many consider as the new franchise quarterback for the 49ers, suffered the injury late in the first quarter while attempting to rush for a first down. While this is a major blow for the 49ers, they may be in good hands with their backup or former starter for the 49ers is Jimmy Garoppolo, who took over for Lance and helped the 49ers cruise by the Seahawks 27-7. Last but not least, Yankees star outfielder Aaron Judge is inching closer to MLB history. Judge smacked his 59th homer of the season yesterday, which now places him 2 away from the American League record that has stood for over 50 seasons. With only 16 games left in the season, make sure to stay on the lookout if Judge can pull off the historic feat. All right, back to the college football gridiron we go with a bit of a future Big 12 action with the Oregon Ducks, 25th in the country, hosting the BYU Cougars. And let's get this started in the first quarter. Bo Nix, the former Auburn quarterback, nearly falls, but spins his way into the end zone for the 2-yard score, 7-0 Oregon. Second quarter, 10-0 now is the Oregon lead. Jaron Hall completes this 28-yard touchdown to Isaac Rex, the tight end, and he's just going to do the rest, take it in the rest of the way. 10-7 is the Oregon lead. Later in the second quarter, Nix will drop back and hit Troy Franklin on the deep ball. A 50-yard gain down to the 2-yard line. Look, full extension up in the air for Franklin. All hands, what a great catch. Bo Nix cooking against the Cougars. They go for a field goal. Now 17-7. Nix over the middle. Hits his man Terrence Ferguson for a 15-yard touchdown. Oregon would take that 24-7 lead into the break. Third quarter now, Nix, design quarterback run, up the middle for a 6-yard score. The Ducks rolling 31-7. Now fourth quarter, Jaron Hall trying to get BYU back into the game. That's a good start. Hits Cody Epps for an 18-yard touchdown to cut the lead to 38-14. Now, Oregon quarterback Ty Thompson in the game for Nix. And yeah, he's going to get intercepted by Ben Bywater of the Cougars. So BYU trying to make a last push as Hall seems to fall over but gets the handoff to Christopher Brooks. He'll walk in for the 2-yard score to make it 38 to 20 after the 2-point conversion fails. And then Hall, one last scoring attempt. It's incomplete. Time runs out, and the Ducks pull off the upset. They win 41-12. Bo Nix would finish with 257 total yards and 5 total touchdowns. Oregon is now up to 15 in this week's AP poll. Keeping up with some Big 12 action, let's go to Lincoln, Nebraska. The Oklahoma Sooners taking on Mickey Joseph, the interim head coach for Nebraska. And we're going to start this off. Casey Thompson going over the top to Trey Palmer. A 32-yard score. Nebraska draws first blood against the Sooners. Could we be on upset alert? But Dylan Gabriel shuts that down immediately. Scampering through the defense, gets away from one guy. How about two? And then two more inside the 20-yard line. Dylan Gabriel, a 61-yard touchdown scamper to tie the game at 7. Later on in the first quarter, Gabriel to Jaleel Farouk in the corner of the end zone. What a pass, what a catch. 25-yard touchdown puts Oklahoma up 14-7. And then Marcus Major, 1-yard touchdown. Oklahoma now really starting to run away. They're up 21-7. Later in the second quarter, Gabriel to Braden Willis, who finds Marcus Major in the end zone, the double pass. We're going to see that later on in the show. 28-7 Oklahoma. And then Eric Gray, the second running back, untouched, 16-yard touchdown, 35-7. Oklahoma would take that score into the break. And then more from Eric Gray. 21 yards out this time. 42-7 Oklahoma. The offense running wild. Who says they need Lincoln Riley to have a prolific offense? Oklahoma's going to win this one 49-14, and they will remain at 6 in this week's AP poll. When we return, it's time to look ahead to tonight's matchups in the NFL, as well as more college football action. Don't go anywhere. The Daily O will be right back.
Pecans are staple to Oklahoma. In fact, many of our native pecans come from trees that are older than Oklahoma statehood.
My father's the one that got us started into the pecan picking. I was probably 10 or 12 years old, and we started off with one little mechanical picker that you pulled behind a four-wheeler. Then we'd go home at night and we'd clean them on a TV tray. I guess watching my dad work hard when we were young, and people started trusting him and getting more and more groves, we just kept growing.
Being a relatively new and fresh company, we get to sit in the same room with people who have been a part of the Oklahoma economy for decades.
It's opened a lot of doors. It's gave us quite a bit of exposure, and I think people, will take a small company like us a little more serious. We're just going to continue growing as long as our community lets us and our customers keep on buying, and we'll see where it takes us.
We would design something, it was set on the counter, and people was either, if enough of them said, this isn't it never made to the line. Dad was excited that they're all original. They were all designed on Mom's kitchen table, and it gets in your blood after a while.
We're very happy that Pamela and Michael have taken over the business and kept the family going.
We took the business over in 2017. When we found that it was available, we wanted to keep the legacy of family alive, but it was also incredible products that deserved to be a part of Made in Oklahoma's story. We were a part of Made in Oklahoma years ago, and so it kind of grew as Made in Oklahoma grew.
Oklahoma is ingrained into everything that we did. We've been here most of our life. That's what we entailed our whole business on, was the Oklahoma homegrown feeling.
Welcome back to this edition of the Daily O. I'm Grayson Singleton. Time to take a look at what's in store tonight for NFL fans. And get ready, because it's a double-header action for football fans. The Tennessee Titans look to bounce back from their season-opening loss to the New York Giants. They're going to take on Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Kickoff for that one is at 6:15 on ESPN, but that's not all. At 7:30, the Justin Jefferson-led Minnesota Vikings will be facing off against Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. Both teams coming off big Week 1 wins and will look to keep the momentum into tonight's game. All right, let's move back to the college world, because we'd love to show you NFL highlights, but we received a nicely written letter from the league about using their video, and, well, let's not make the same mistake twice. Let's go to Fayetteville, where the 10th-ranked Arkansas Razorbacks are welcoming Missouri State to the Arkansas. And let's pick it up in the first quarter. KJ Jefferson rushes for 8 yards, like he usually does. Except he doesn't usually put the ball on the ground. Fumble recovered by Vaughn Young. You can see right there the ball punched out before Jefferson hits the ground. Missouri State is in business. Later in the quarter, Jacardia Wright, 1 yard, bounces off the right tackle, into the end zone. Missouri State has a 7-0 lead. Upset alert. Here we go. Jason Shelley escapes the pocket, escapes a defender, and then outruns another one. 24 yards for the touchdown. Missouri State is up 17-0 at this moment in time. Then, later on in the quarter, Arkansas trying to get things right. That's a good start. Raheem Sanders, a 3-yard touchdown run. 17-7. Bearcats still leading, however. But later in the quarter, KJ Jefferson looking for the former Oklahoma Sooner Jaden Hazelwood. He's got him wide open on the sideline. He's going to get away from a couple Bearcat defenders. And just like that, Arkansas trailing by 3. They're going to do that at the break. Third quarter, Jason Shelley off the play action finds Tyrone Scott wide open for a 47-yard touchdown. Missouri State up 24-17 now, really putting the pressure on Arkansas. Later in the fourth quarter, KJ Jefferson with a little shovel pass to Raheem Sanders, and just get these guys out in space because they can fly. He outruns 6 Bearcat defenders. Look at this, just the little underhand improvisation, and there goes Raheem Sanders. 27-24, Missouri State. But this is when the game turns. Missouri State punting. Bryce Stevens feels the ball inside his 20-yard line, and then makes a cut, and then makes another one. Still hasn't been touched, and he's not gonna be touched. 82-yard touchdown return for Bryce Stevens. It's 31-27 Arkansas. Its first lead of the game, and then KJ Jefferson just gets that big body and runs over the center. 1-yard touchdown, 38-27. Arkansas, look at it again, just untouched. Arkansas, just a little too much for Missouri State. They'll win by that score and remain at 10 in this week's AP poll. All right, let's go to the Swamp. The Gators welcoming the Bulls of South Florida. Florida coming off the loss last weekend to Kentucky. And this week's not going to start off very well. Brian Batty, 10-yard touchdown run to give USF a 7-3 lead. Defense is not wanting to touch people this week. He goes untouched into the end zone. Next drive, Anthony Richardson hands off to Montrell Johnson. And Montrell Johnson's not going to be touched. 62 yards down the sideline for the touchdown. 10-7, Florida on top. Now, later in the half, about 4 minutes left in the second quarter, Naquan Wright rushes for a 7-yard touchdown. So Florida's up 17-10. So maybe you were thinking this is when Florida puts the Bulls away. And you might be right, because Gary Bohannon, the former Baylor quarterback, picked off. Touchdown for Florida. It's a 39-yard interception return. The Gators go up 2 scores. They're up 24-10. Skip ahead to the third quarter now. Gators really hyped right now. And then Dwayne Boyles, he's going to intercept Anthony Richardson. So Richardson's played a subpar game last week, and then he's going to do it again this week. Takes it down inside the 20-yard line. USF in business. Gary Bohannon takes the snap. 6-yard rushing score. This time he did get touched, though. Made it a little bit difficult. But now, the 2-point conversion. Bohannon to Sean Atkins. To Xavier Weaver, the double pass pays off for USF. And now the Bulls are only down 3, 24-21. Fourth quarter now. Bohannon will pitch it to Michael Dukes. What a catch. And he's going to beat the defense to the corner of the end zone. USF up 28-24. Another SEC team on the verge of being upset. Later on in the fourth quarter, Bohannon rolling out, but he's intercepted this time by Trevez Johnson. Florida in business, up 4, trying to just salt the game away. You see he gets his hands underneath the ball. That's an interception. And then Trevor Etienne takes the handoff 3 yards up the gut into the end zone for a 31-28 lead. South Florida, trying to come back, but the aborted snap is recovered by Brian Batty. Just a terrible time for that sort of disaster. They're outside of field goal range. But however, all hope is not dead for South Florida. Spencer Schrader on for a 49-yard field goal. He just yanks it to the right. Had the leg, but check this out. A horrible hold by the Bulls. Schrader does his best to get the field goal a chance, but it falls short. Florida survives 31-28, but the Gators are going to drop 2 spots to number 20 in this week's AP poll. All right, we're going to take one final break, but when we return, we're going to turn back the clocks a little bit. What happened on this day in sports history, as well as one more quick look into your national headlines, the Daily O. We'll be right back.
Our state is one of the most beautiful and unique states in the USA. With diverse geographies, the historic Route 66, unforgettable restaurants, and some of the greatest people on the planet. With so much to see and so much to do, living in Oklahoma means one of the best vacation spots is right in our own backyard. Doesn't this story need to be told? As filmmakers and photographers based right here in Oklahoma, we thought so. And hey, who doesn't like a good road trip? So, we packed up our cameras, teamed up with Lieutenant Governor Matt Pinnell and the Oklahoma Tourism and Recreation Department, and that's how this series was born. We want to show you why traveling within the great state of Oklahoma is a great idea. So come join us for thousands of miles over the next year, from Broken Bow to Black Mesa. This is the Oklahoma Road Trip.
Well, how I got started was my daughter said, "Mama, why don't we rent a booth at the Quarter Horse Show?" And it was very, very good because, you know, when you're giving your jelly away for free, people really do love it. But when you ask them to pay for it, then that's a true test. What makes my product so unique is the Scotch bonnet pepper. And the Scotch bonnet is a Jamaican pepper. And I had lived in Montego Bay, Jamaica for 4 years. So I learned how to handle the pepper and how to cook with it. I always say, you don't do this on your own. I mean, you have so many people that help you along the way. For me and for many of us, that's my name on that jar, and it better be good.
All right, welcome back to the Daily O. I'm Grayson Singleton, and let's turn back the clock a little bit in sports history to find out what happened on this day. So in 2000, Mariner slugger Ken Griffey Jr. would hit a new milestone with 400 home runs. But that wasn't the only thing historical. Ken Griffey Jr. came up to the plate to pinch hit as a pinch hitter, marking him as the first player in Major League Baseball history to have hit his 400th home run as a pinch hitter. Griffey Jr. would go on to amass 630 career home runs before retiring in 2010. Now let's take a look into your celebrity birthday, starting things off with a one-armed legend in pitcher Jim Abbott, who's now turning 55. Hope that AARP card came in the mail for you today, Jim. Abbott would become the first pitcher in MLB history to throw a no-hitter for the New York Yankees in 1993, becoming the first one-arm pitcher to do so. Also, while he may not be an athlete, he is a big figure in the Major League Baseball world for breaking some of the biggest stories in senior writer for The Athletic, Ken Rosenthal. Rosenthal will be turning 60 today. By the way, love the signature bow tie from Mr. Rosenthal. All right, before we let you go, let's get one more quick look back into your national headlines. Let's go to Arizona. The Arizona State Sun Devils have fired former head coach Herm Edwards. The decision comes following a tough loss on Saturday to Central Michigan. Edwards, who previously coached in the NFL for the Jets for 7 seasons, ends his tenure in Tempe with a 26-20 record. He appeared in 4 bowl games. Sun Devils running back Sean Aguano is now the new interim head coach. And also, let's go to the Bay Area. 49ers fans are incredibly concerned as quarterback Trey Lance has suffered a season-ending ankle injury against the Seattle Seahawks yesterday. Lance, who many considered as the new franchise quarterback, suffered the injury late in the first quarter while attempting to run for a first down. Jimmy Garoppolo will take over the starting duties once again as the 49ers quarterback. And lastly, Yankee star outfielder Aaron Judge is inching ever closer to MLB history. Judge hit his 58th and 59th homers of the season yesterday against the Brewers, which now places him 2 away from the American League record that has stood for over 50 years. With only 16 games left in the season, let's see if Judge can do this. Make sure you stay on the lookout for if the Judge can pull off number 62. Also, the NFL has made its ruling on the altercation during the New Orleans Saints and Tampa Bay Buccaneers game on Sunday. As of now, Buccaneers wide receiver Mike Evans will be suspended for 1 game without pay after the melee with defensive back Marshawn Lattimore. All right, that will do it for our show today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and make sure you check out the Daily O tomorrow. Emma Lightfoot will keep you updated on everything happening in the sports world. For the Daily O, my name is Grayson Singleton. Good night, everybody.
Tucked away in the city of Ripley, Oklahoma, the award-winning Washington Irving Trail Museum showcases the heritage and history of Payne County. This museum holds antiques, treasures, and artifacts that one cannot find at any other museum. With hundreds of historical antiques that display OSU history, along with Native American history, the museum has it all. The museum is well known for their book containing pictures and news articles about Frank Eaton, the original Pistol Pete. Dale Kluber opened Washington Irving Trail Museum in 1994 with its collection of historical mementos. This museum is filled from wall to wall with Oklahoman history. The Washington Irving Trail Museum is 15 minutes outside of Stillwater. Experience history at one of Oklahoma's hidden gems.
My name is James Remedy. Fired Up Stilly is the name of the business, and I'm one of the owners. We all 3 met, the 3 owners, working as employees at a similar place like this. What I hope for is for everybody to feel welcome, like family. Not only do I want students to feel welcome to come here and study and use our free Wi-Fi, but also I want adults and families to be able to come in. We've built a connection with a lot of people, and Stillwater's a big community, so we just want to invite everybody to be able to eventually make their way through our doors. Well, definitely the teas, I would say. Most people fall in love with them. They just got a great amount of energy, gets you going through your day, and it just kickstarts you to get everything you need to done. For myself, it would just have to be, being the owner, owning something that, is able to impact other people's lives, and, the way we can affect our community is something that I really have always wanted to do. We love our clients and our customers that come through every day, and we enjoy getting to know them.
Are when folks drink our water is that they'll drink it for a few days and find out the difference. They'll start feeling better because there's been no chemical in our water. There's a list of good things that we have. We don't have any bad things in it. I see the future of Divine Water as being worldwide, which will bring outside dollars into the state. It means a lot to me because I started it, I guess, and our family started it.